video is about how early Gnostics used the monadic sequence.
What you're seeing here is the Bellini version of Mark and Peter in Alexandria. Now, there's some history that this painting might reflect. It's, of course, speculative. But this is Mark. This is probably Peter. This could be Mark's uncle, Barnabas. This could be Glaucius, who is Peter's scribe. And this could be Basilides, who was servant or under Glaucius as a master. Now, all of this is according to the history of the Gnostic Church and Clement. Let me take you for a little tour around here. And you can see this tower here that looks something like the Washington Monument. And beside it here is what could be the tower of, or the famous lighthouse tower. Now, of course, this big building here that you see in the foreground is the famous Library of Alexandria. Now, just a little tour around the painting in the courtyard to see how the Bellinis thought about how this event might have taken place, because it's very historical for Gnostics. It certainly is, because this is where the Alexandrian and the Gnostic and so-called secret Christianity started. These are the two passages from the Nag Hammadi library, specifically Gnostus the Blessed, which supposedly is something that the Nag Hammadi says Jesus wrote. Well, the text itself is attributed to Jesus, and he says, as I said earlier, among the things that were created, the monad is the first, the dyad follows it, and the triad up to the tenths. Now the tenths rule the hundredths rule the thousands rule the 10,000s. This is the pattern among the immortals. Again, it is this pattern that exists among the immortals. The monad and the thought are those things that belong to a mortal man. The thinkings are for the decads. The hundreds are for the teachings, and the thousands are for the councils, and the tens of thousands are the powers. Almost anybody who's ever studied Chinese philosophy and understands what the Great Void or Wu Qi is will recognize immediately. These passages are almost identical. However, the Nag Hammadi identifies the triad as part of the monadic process, and this is important, and I'm going to explain why. The study of how the monad and the empty space works in the Pythagorean schema is that the monad morphs into a triad and then further morphs to its limit, and that's how it works. But the study of how we go through these empty spaces is called kenosis, which is a Greek term meaning emptiness, or to make empty. As in Philippians 2:7, Jesus made himself nothing, and accordingly this means in Christian theology, kenosis is the concept of self-emptying of one's own will and becoming entirely receptive to God and his perfect will. Well, this isn't exactly the way that the Gnostics see it. They see it combining themselves with the monad or Jesus and then using their own free will to do good.
Watch the kenosis process as good and evil are formed into opposing triad. Okay, here's the morph and the difference between good and evil. At the level of the triad, darkness and desire and ignorance are known as the evil trinity and are used quite frequently in the Sethian texts.
From the triad, we get the tetrad, which is 4 parts. Now, this is Carl Jung's model, and I'm using it to show that there's a lot of possibilities to put types together. These are called types. Feeling and thinking and sensation and intuition play sort of a quadrangular polarity here, which is the idea. Jung figured out that he could put somebody's personality in this circle or in this arena by figuring out which of these a person is more prone to. Now, the natural morph for evil and good comes from the literature which says that good and evil are going to form 7 parts. Now, what happens when we use Jesus as the monad is that we have control over good and evil. Of course, this is the model of the seven-member set. This is the model. Jesus is the actual monad. Now, he makes the 8th type and gives control over this. I wish there was time to tell you exactly more about how that happens, but there's really not. I got a 10-minute window here, so I have to work with it. Now, this monadic sequence gets split in 2 between good and evil. We'll show you how that works. There's the evil trinity, darkness, desire, and ignorance. Now that's going to come maybe in a different order for different things. This is lies and deceit. This is lust. And all of these different forms are coming from different literature in the Nag Hammadi library. It's how the form. It's monadic sequences. It's slander for you. That's a good one. And of course, we overcome the evil with this particular ogdoad, this formation. This is where we put the wisdom of Jesus as the monad and make it overcome the hebdoad, or the evil hebdoad. And it's a pretty simple idea. It's just a more powerful morph. Now, as you may see here, I have listed the Gospel of Thomas right there as the monad, or as Jesus' representative on earth. It's how he gets the word to us. It's through the Gospel of Thomas. So basically, the Gospel of Thomas and the monad act as one in these days and give us the power to overcome that evil hebdoad with the ogdoad. The ogdoad, of course, would be paired with the positive parts of the monad and add Jesus' wisdom to this, and then you overpower the evil. That's how it works.
This is all I